Hello, church. Cam asked me to say a few words about City Union Mission. My name's Ted Phillips, and I am the Facilities Project Administrator. And my primary responsibilities have to do with the facilities and the buildings and capital improvements to the properties. And so I have very little involvement with the programming or the programming staff. But we thought maybe today we could just give an overview of what the City Union Mission is and what they do there. And the City Union Mission was founded by a Methodist pastor and his wife, Reverend David and Beulah Bulkley. And they opened the doors of the mission for the first time on September 15th, 1924. And that was nearly 100 years ago. And this coming September 15th, the mission will celebrate its 100th birthday. And we're thankful for how God has sustained the mission these 100 years. And they continue to fulfill the ministry of serving the poor and the homeless and those in need. And we're thankful for God sustaining that ministry and those who have worked the ministry over the many years. And they opened their doors at 545 Main Street, Kansas City, Missouri. And that would be down in the area which now we know as the City Market. And so that's where they began. And they held daily chapel services, which revolved around serving meals. And Pastor Bulkley's pulpit banner read, "Whosoever will may come." And they begin to come. And they keep coming. 100 years later, they are still coming. Today, they came. And tomorrow, they'll come. And Jesus said, we will always have the poor with us until he returns. And so we're thankful we can continue in this ministry and for those who support it. And sharing the gospel and caring for the poor, it continues to this day. And in 1927, the mission leased a mansion at 4th and Wyandotte. It was owned by Annie Chambers, and she was a former madam of the most popular brothel in Kansas City, quite renowned in that economy. And Beulah Bulkley, David's wife, befriended Annie Chambers, and in time, Annie was saved. And Annie's mansion that she lived in was, that the mission leased from her, it was renamed the Harbor, and it became a shelter for women in need. And Annie served in that shelter after her salvation and ministering the gospel to the women who came seeking help. And in 1938, before her death, Annie gave her mansion to the mission and helped to launch it to sustain that ministry for women, and it still goes today, ministering to women and children and families in our Women and Families complex. The mission's motto is "Hope lives here," and that's what we strive to show those who come in, is that there is hope that they can have through Christ Jesus. And we have the message, and we want to share that message with them. And so the mission takes the person first approach. And the mission focuses on individual needs, and of course salvation being primary, and helping those that need help with mental health and of course life skills. And the mission strives to free individuals from life-dominating addictions and trauma through the healing presence of God's Word. So City Union Mission provides wholesome meals and showers. They provide assigned beds with daily clean linens and pillows and blankets, laundry washers and dryers, one-on-one time with those they want to seek help from, and of course teaching from God's Word. And if the individual chooses to enter the program, they receive a customized case management goals with a case manager, and Christ-centered counseling, of course. Life skill classes they go through. They take financial stewardship training, vocational development training, and of course, biblical foundation for living. And upon completion of the program, which is a 1-year program, upon the graduation ceremony is held for them, and the graduate receives a car, and that car is maintained and insured for the first year. And so we have a car ministry, and we receive donated vehicles, and or we, as funds allow, we purchase pre-owned vehicles. These vehicles are cleaned and fully serviced, and any repairs that needs to be done to put them in, bring them back to safe standards, and to bless those and help them, help the graduates, launch into their next phase of life, and as they have employment and transition into permanent housing. We have 3 complexes at the mission. We have the men's complex, and located about 11th and Troost, and then we have the women and family complex, which is located at approximately 13th and Wabash. And then we have a youth camp, Camp Cumcedo, which is in Warsaw, Missouri. And at the men's complex, we have the men's center, as we call it. It is the primary shelter. It's able to bed 300, but at this time we keep a maximum of about 100 currently, due to staffing and funding. And if they choose to enter the program, they can transition into the next building, which is our Christian Life Center. And this is a living center for those who are doing their studies, as we mentioned up earlier, and learning to transition back in life. They begin to get employment. They help them get employment, help them to learn how to manage finances, and learn different vocational skills and computer skills. And it's a dorm style living, and the residents there take care of their building, and they do quite well. And finishing the program, they graduate and go through the ceremony. We also have the Lorraine Minor Care Center, and this is a smaller center that's right next door to the men's center, and it's a specialized. We take those men who have mental health challenges or physical disabilities, and we transition them into there where they're out of the kind of the main population there at the men's center, and we promote levels of self-sufficiency there, and of course they get special attention and care as a smaller population, and they help them to transition from that center into proper long-term housing. And all men that have come through that L minor, as we call it, center, have transitioned into permanent housing, whether it be assisted living or a group home, or just transitioning, learning to live on their own, being self-sufficient. Then we have the women and family complex, and the root causes for homelessness among women is domestic violence and housing instability, and of course addiction. And at the Women and Family Center, the main center, it is an emergency shelter for those who just need to quickly have a place to stay. We provide short-term stay there, and to provide stability for women and children, and some families that they can, in a short-term time, save some money and get back on their feet, and get rolling again into life. There's a nursery there that oversees children from 6 months to 6 years, and for parents, and this enables parents to meet with their caseworker or attend classes, job hunt, and go through counseling, and so all that in our main women's shelter. And of course, as we mentioned above, the room and board and wholesome meals and things like that. Uh, we have as a transition from the family center, if they choose to go through the program, just as any men would do on the other side, they transition into the New Life Center, and so it parallels along with the Christian Life Center on the men's complex, and of course it's a longer term stay, and they go through the same life skill training, financial training, job hunt training, of course. Biblical discipleship in both of these complexes, men and women, and to help women and family to recover and to take them through these recovery programs and to help them to get back into the mainstream of living and being self-sufficient. In that same complex, we have the Vanderburg Youth Center, and this youth center is a after-school tutoring and activities center for the local neighborhood children. And so many children come in after school and come there to be tutored and, of course, to participate in activities. And I believe they even can come on the weekends. There's through the summer, there's a day camp they can attend. And, of course, a lot of field trips take place, and Bible studies and a lot of fun things. So it's a youth outreach right there in the neighborhood. They're in the proximity of 13th and Wabash, Kansas City, Missouri. We also have transitional living apartments, and it's down at about 33rd and Harrison, and it provides affordable housing to assist tenants to transition to long-term and permanent housing. And this is a 6-unit complex. One of the units houses the manager and their spouse, and so there's 5 units for tenants. And the tenants that live there, they are employed, and they pay monthly rent. And they are on a 1-year lease. And at the end of their lease, the tenants, as they transition out into permanent housing, and of course that opens up for others to transition in and to get on their feet. And as they transition out at the end of that year lease, the tenants, they receive back all the rent money they paid for that full year. And of course this helps them to jumpstart their transition, and it's a real blessing to them to be able to kind of get started running. We also have what we call the Community Assistance Center, and this center, about 8th and Highland, there in Kansas City, Missouri, it assists individuals and families, and these individuals live at a residence. In other words, they have a residential address, and that's one of the things that qualifies them for this help. And there they can receive food and packaged food, of course, pantry type food, hygiene staples. They can receive, upon qualification, utility vouchers to help them with utility bills. As they come in through there, they receive right away one-on-one interviewing and guidance. And for those who want it, they begin to offer them spiritual counseling, and of course to try to encourage them to receive Christ as they would need Him. And so this is the Community Assistance Center. And one of the big deals at the Community Assistance is the Christmas store. And they've been doing this for many years. I wish I could say how many, I'm not for sure. But they build out a store in a part of the warehouse. And this store is stocked with all brand new merchandise, packaged merchandise, brand new current merchandise. And families can receive a shopping voucher to come through this Christmas store. And it's by appointment. They come in and they shop for free. and they begin to select off the shelves things for their children and for their family, and so that they can enjoy gift giving and receiving. And it's a great blessing to be able to be a part of that. And as they choose their gifts, they are retained there at the Christmas store, and they're purchased gifts, if you will, by voucher. They are wrapped, and then they are delivered to their home by volunteers and staff. And it's just a real enjoyable time. I understand when they roll up and deliver the gifts that they have purchased, and to be able to give those out and enjoy the Christmas season. And I learned that last year the mission issued over 980 vouchers. And so that's almost 1,000 families that were blessed by this store. And we're thankful for those who give to stock this store. And so it's a great blessing. It's a great outreach during the Christmas time. So we're thankful for that. Then the other complex, as we mentioned, aside of the men's complex and the women and family complex, is Camp Cumcedo Youth Camp. And the word Cumcedo is actually an acronym for City Union Mission Camp in the Ozarks, Camp Cumcedo. And so very clever there. And in 1933, Reverend David Bulkley purchased nearly 1,000 acres in Warsaw, Missouri. And in 1934, just a year later, the camping ministry was opened to provide spiritual outreach to inner city kids and struggling families in rural Benton County, there in Warsaw. And this was a fulfilled vision of David's wife, Beulah. And she had a vision for this camp and for it to be an outreach and for children. This camp is still going, and 100, nearly, well, not 100 years, but 90 years later, I suppose. And they hold 6 one-week Bible camp sessions there in Warsaw. They serve approximately 400 children and teens over that 6-week course. And the ages, they call the younger age tot lot, and those ages are 4 to 6. And then that, which they refer to as the big camp, ages 7 to 16. And so these children are bussed in for free in coach style busing, and bring them down from the inner city, and they go to camp for a week, and they enjoy activities, nature hikes and canoeing and fishing, swimming, campfires and crafts, and of course chapel, and other fun activities and games and such as you would do at any other youth camp. And many children have been reached through this camp. This is one of the highlights of their entire life for some of them, and of course the entire year, to experience something like this out of the things that might be going on at the home, and their poor situation, and the needs that might face day to day. This camp is completely volunteer operated, although it's overseen by mission staff, and so week after week for the 6 weeks, many volunteers come to help in this camp, whether it be counselors or custodials or kitchen help, clerical help. We have on-staff nursing. It's quite incredible what this camp does and has been doing for 90 years and still going. And so we just trust that this gives you a little insight of what the City Union Mission is, what they do. It's quite the jewel here in our city. And a lot of people hear of it, know a little bit about it. I don't know if very many know the expansion of their ministry and how far-reaching it is, and they try to serve in every possible way they can for the poor and the needy and those who need Christ. And so we just trust this encourages you. Maybe God has compelled you to give to the mission. You can always go to the website at cityunionmission.org, and there's a place to give. And maybe you're interested in doing some kind of volunteer work or serving at the camp. There's always opportunity there. And so, but we trust you will pray for the mission as we live here in Kansas City and serve those in need. And of course, many people can recommend City Union Mission to those who might come in contact with someone who having difficulty in housing or addiction, or just need spiritual help, or for whatever reason just been displaced and have lost their place in mainstream living. And so we just pray you will always know that City Union Mission is there, and for those who need us, and indeed hope does live here. All right, God bless.